Yep.
I'm going to start off with a quote from Ellen G. White. Do you see this screen where it says a disturbed mind?
Yes, we can.
Wonderful. A disturbed mind, doubt, perplexity, and excessive grief often sap the vital forces and induce nervous diseases of a most debilitating and distressing character. Now, isn't that so true? That's found in Review and Herald 1883. So I'm going to talk on the vagus nerve. Now, I don't know how many of you know about the vagus nerve, but it is fascinating. Everything that God puts together has all these connections in our body. It is the 10th of the 12 cranial nerves located in the rear of the skull. Despite the name, the vagus nerve is a pair of nerves, one on each side of the medulla oblongata, a stem-like structure that makes up part of the brainstem. So that's the one that's behind your ear. You see, if you just see this little bone here, that's where it attaches. You have one vagus nerve on each side of your body that travels all the way from your brain to your gut. Doctors say that this is the longest of the cranial nerves in your body. The name vagus nerve comes from the Latin word for wandering. This is a fitting name because this cranial nerve has many connections and branches through the body. What does the vagus nerve do? Well, let's see. It conveys sensory information about the body's organs to the central nervous system, interacts with autonomic body processes like blood pressure and heart rate, affects mood and seizures, and it also helps with your appetite. So the effect of vagus nerve function on your digestive system can also control your appetite. The journal Gastroenterology reports that vagus activity plays a role in regulating your appetite. Researchers have found that one of the vagus nerve damage symptoms is obesity. So it's very important that we eat healthy and watch our weight. Other studies point to the fact that a properly functioning vagus nerve also increases feelings of satiety. And satiety means just fullness, that, it's just full. Your vagal tone helps to transport signals to your brain, making you feel fuller, and may help prevent you from overeating. Now, isn't that interesting? However, researchers explain that the vagus nerve function is extremely complex and complicated, and there is little evidence. So they have little evidence, but people have found that it does work. Now, vagus nerve function affects inflammation. An important reason to make sure that you have good vagal tone is to reduce inflammation in your body. Now, we know how important that inflammation can cause many issues, right? It can cause heart disease, allergies, diabetes, and cancer. However, short-term inflammation is fine because you need that. It tells you there's infections and it needs to be healed. But long-term, you don't want to have that. Now, studies in the way the vagus nerve functions have shown that it helps lower inflammatory responses. So that's very important. Scientists theorize that enhancing the vagus nerve function can help manage inflammation-related diseases. Trials have shown that increased vagus nerve activity could help manage complications associated with obesity, diabetes, autoimmune conditions, and poor cardiovascular health. Isn't that amazing? Because God knew exactly, what we need inside our bodies to make us healthy. Now, the vagus nerve function your internal organs. Look how much it affects your organs. So your left and right vagus nerves are connected to most of your internal organs and help them function properly. For example, the Cardiology Journal reports on a study showing that an increase in vagus activity can help reduce heart failure, which is the #1 in the world that people have. Doctors found that using a device to stimulate the vagus nerve increased nitric oxygen, which you will be learning that one on my next talk. levels and lowered inflammation. Both of these are important in boosting your heart health. And what are we having right now? In this day and age, what are people going through? Heart issues, aren't they? So research also shows that vagal nerve activity affects bladder infection. Healthy vagal nerve function is also necessary for kidneys to work properly and filter toxins. Experiments have shown that stimulating the vagus nerve helps to improve blood flow through the kidneys. So if you look in the chart here, you see heart, it decreases heart rate. Liver, it regulates insulin secretion and glucose homeostasis in the liver, which is going to be very important for diabetes, preventing it. In your gut, it also helps with that. It also helps with, as I was telling you, inflammation. The brain, it helps keep anxiety and depression at bay, opposes the sympathetic response to stress. Even your mouth taste information is sent through 3 cranial nerves. Did you know that? One of which is the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is needed for the gag reflex, for your swallowing and coughing. Blood vessels decreases vascular tone and lowering blood pressure. Now, studies have shown that patients that suffer with migraine headaches have impaired vagal activity, depending on the frequency of vagal stimulation. We know it can turn off an asthma attack. Isn't that fascinating? Someone's having an asthma attack, an epileptic seizure, a migraine, or a cluster headache. And it can reduce the perception of acid reflux. There's a lot of people that have these issues, maybe because their vagal tone isn't good. Now, there's low vagal tone. A poor vagal tone has been associated with child psychopathology and anxiety and depression in adults. So we see how the gut-brain is connected. Lower vagal tone, what does it look like? Well, these are the problems: anxiety, depression, mood disorders, headaches, migraines, poor satiety or an inability to relax while eating, insomnia, interrupted sleep, poor breathing patterns, loneliness, dysregulated, overactive, hypothalamic pituitary adrenal, hypochlorhydride, which is low stomach acid secretion, gallbladder issues, low or slow bile acid production, making it harder to digest fats and clear toxins. Dysbiosis, constipation, intestinal bacteria overgrowth, poor absorption of nutrients, digestive and GI problems such as IBS, hiatal hernia, chronic fatigue, and food sensitivities. Now, did anybody here know that this is all linked to your vagus nerve? Also, poor blood flow to the kidneys. So you could have kidney infections, frequent urination, high blood pressure, poor glucose control, poor heart rate variability, and greater risk of cardiovascular conditions, heart disease and stroke, high resting heart rate, cognitive impairment, chronic inflammation, greater rates of inflammatory conditions, including all, not some, but all autoimmune diseases, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune thyroid conditions, inflammatory bowel disease, and more. Any kind of GI stress can put pressure on the nerve and irritate it. So this is why it's very important, brothers and sisters, that we take care of our GI tract. Because if you don't, and it's inflamed, it can put pressure on to the nerve. Chronic stress, anxiety can inflame the nerve. If you even had braces or an extensive amount of dental work, you're at risk for low vagal tone. Even something as simple as poor posture, muscular imbalances can cause the vagus nerve to misfire. Isn't it fascinating? Damage to the vagus nerve can be caused by diabetes, excessive alcohol use, which I hope nobody uses that here, prescription, OTC, recreational drug use, upper respiratory viral infections, even Botox injections, heavy metal toxicity, which is in every vaccine, even especially this one that they are injecting, or having part of the nerve damaged or severe accidentally during surgery or an operation.
Severed.
Sorry? Now, vagal tone is also passed from mother to child. Who would have thought? Even a child can be affected when it's in the mother. So mothers who experience anxiety, depression, and anger during their pregnancy have lower vagal activity. Once they give birth to their child, the newborn baby also has low vagal tone and low dopamine and serotonin levels. So that would not be good for when the child is, the immune system is building up. Now, I found this very interesting, and maybe you also. There's 3 ways to check in the health of your vagus nerve. Now, did you know that, remember a while back, I don't even know if they do this anymore, but you go to your doctors and they would say, open your mouth and say, they're actually checking your condition of your vagus nerve. There's a little fleshly extension at the back of your throat and a soft palate. This structure is known as the uvula. So you see the uvula? So when it's deviated to the left or failure to rise, you have low vagal tone. It should stay in the middle, whereas the soft palate should be elevated. If your vagus nerve is experiencing issues, the uvula would be on the side than in the middle. So in order to check this, I'd advise you to don't look at yourself, but have another person observe the back of your throat. This person should preferably have a flashlight they can use to view the throat clearly. Isn't that interesting? Did you brothers and sisters know that? I didn't know it until I learned about it. So do it sometime, and then you will know. Have someone else check for you. Now, how can you test your vagus nerve function? There's 2 ways. Measure your heart rate variability. Heart rate variability, variation in time between each heartbeat, is a measure of your vagus nerve activity. It can be used to measure the effectiveness of vagus nerve stimulation exercises. The higher it is, the better. A vagal tone measuring device you can use to complete is a smartwatch, which I think a lot of people have. Now, I like this one, a sesame seed transit time. This is another way. Devices need to measure heart rate variability can be expensive. So a cheap alternative method of testing your vagus nerve function from Dr. Nawaz Habib recommends is sesame seed transit time. How you do that is you take a whole sesame seeds in a glass of water without chewing and measure how long they take to appear in your stool. It should take 12 to 20 hours. Anything less or more, then this indicates poor vagal tone, because as we know, your vagal tone is very important to your digestive system. So what is healthy vagal tone? Well, this is how it should look. Healthy vagal tone is linked to an increased resilience to stress. Boy, we all need that, don't we? Reduce allostatic load, which is the amount of stress we accumulate over time. Less anxiety and healthier emotional, physical, and psychological well-being. High vagal tone improves the function of many body systems, causing improved digestion, better production of stomach acid and digestive enzymes, less migraines, better blood sugar regulation, which you have that, then you're not going to get diabetes, reduce risk of stroke and cardiovascular disease, and lower blood pressure. And there's so many people that have this day and age, especially taking the COVID jab. One of the most interesting roles of the vagus nerve is that it activates your gut microbiome and initiates a response to modulate inflammation based on whether or not it detects pathogenic versus non-pathogenic organisms. So if you have a healthy vagal tone, you will have a calm and peaceful mind and positive mood. Now, isn't that important to have that? I think it's important when we have that, and it also helps our spiritual walk with God too. It's a good digestion and bowel movements, normal speech and swallowing ability, healthy blood sugar and body weight. And you have better pulse rate and blood pressure. So we see how very important that you should have a high vagal tone. So those with higher vagal tone have healthier hearts, less inflammation, stronger social bonds, greater ability to feel calm and peaceful. Now, don't we all want that? And tend to exhibit better emotion regulation. Now, these people look happy in the picture, don't they? And that's how God wants us to be, is happy. People with high vagal tone are not just healthier, they're also socially, psychologically stronger, better able to concentrate and remember things, happier and less likely to be depressed, more empathetic and more likely to have close friendships. And that's what God wants, brothers and sisters. When He created us to be social beings. When your heart rate variability is high, your vagal tone is also high. They're correlated with each other. How to stimulate your vagus nerve? But you've been waiting for this. So think of your vagus nerve stimulation as kind of a mental hygiene that requires consistency and regular practice to be most effective. Ooh, that's cold. Have you ever done this before? Look at that boy. He looks like he's either really cold, or enjoying it. And the gentleman above the picture, in ice cold water. Do you know a lot of people are doing that now? Now, I've never done that, but what I have done before, when we were young, we had a hot tub, and we go in there, and then we go jump in the snow, and we would do snow angels. It was cold, and then I've also done ice cold therapy too, where you wraps, doing ice cold wraps. Let me tell you, it is freezing, but you warm your body will warm up, and it was the best sleep I've had. So that helps with your vagal tone. Acute cold exposure has been shown to activate the vagus nerve and activate cholinergic neurons through vagus nerve pathways. Didn't God make us amazing? Cold therapy, cold exposure and hydrotherapy. So how many here have done this? With cold wraps, cold showers. When done on a consistent basis, acute exposure to the cold releases certain neurotransmitters in the gastrointestinal system that affect your brain health. Other studies have shown that an increase in vagus nerve activity caused by acclimatization to the cold boosts your parasympathetic activity. This is where heart rate slows down and muscles in the gastrointestinal tract relax, sometimes referred to as the rest and digest effect. Cold therapy. How to submerge your body up to your shoulders in a large full immersion tub with ice and water, a cold swimming pool, or a cold ice water bath. Splash cold water on your face, apply a cold washcloth to the face and neck. And that's very good. If you do that in the morning, let's say you can't do all this cold water immersing yourself, and just splash cold water in your face. It's rejuvenating. Try finishing your next shower with at least 30 seconds of cold water and see how you feel. Then work your way up to longer periods of a time to 60 seconds. It's shocking to do, but the lingering effects are worth it. Gargling, singing, humming. You do a lot of that in church or even wherever you are. Rejoicing to the Lord. Sound therapy. Listen to the sound of running water, water fountain, waterfall, river, ocean waves. Who likes when you sit by the water and you just feel that peace? It's because it's releasing negative ions. We have too much positive ions in our environment with all of this, frequencies, computers, and all that. We need to get away from a lot of it and get closer to nature, closer to God as well. Exercise. One of the benefits that exercising has on vagus nerve stimulation is to your digestive health. Researchers have discovered that mild exercising promotes healthy vagal tone. This helps to stimulate the gastric muscles, leading to better digestion. Researchers have found that stimulating the gut-brain axis helps the stomach process food better. How about sunshine? Exposure to sunlight. Watch the sunrise and sunset. Deep respiratory sleep. Relaxation. Mindfulness. Gratitude. Appreciation. Loving, kind, compassionate, forgiving thoughts toward others and yourself. And most of all, prayer and meditation on God's word. Now, where do you find these, brothers and sisters? Where do you find these? In the health message. God has given us a health message. And if we follow the health message, we are going to have a healthy vagal tone. So you sit down during mealtime, eat in a relaxed state without distractions. Chew food well. Who gave that to Ellen G. White? God. God told Ellen G. White. She gave him the health message to chew our food slowly and well. And then the vagus nerve plays a role in appetite after eating. So a healthy, diversified organic diet, maintain a healthy gut, optimize your digestion, probiotics, massage, lymphatic massage, gently massage in the neck, soft massage of the abdomen and belly, visceral manipulation, deep breathing. Some people need some chiropractic care, social engaging behaviors, hugging a friend or loved one, looking into the eyes of your child, a dear friend, a pet, or a loved one with deep sense of love and connectedness. So we see everything's connected, isn't it? Now, what about food? God gave us food, so there must be food that we can eat that can help with it. And there is. One way, though, to stimulate your vagus nerve naturally and benefit your heart rate variability is to fast intermittently. Intermittent fasting is sometimes called the 5-portion 2 diet. This involves eating normally for 5 days and then on 2 non-consecutive days, having a partial fast. Calorie intake for the fasting days should be 500 calories for women and 600 calories for men. Studies have shown that intermittent fasting is an effective way to lose weight and maintain weight loss. The effects of fasting on the vagus nerve affect the hunger hormone, ghrelin. Other studies have shown that fasting is a way to stimulate the function of the vagus nerve. So we see the importance of fasting as well. And God tells us that we should also pray and fast, which is beautiful that Nadine has brought that up. The bottom line on the vagus nerve diet: eating foods high in fiber, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains, beans, and legumes is essential for regular bowel movements. The removal of digestive food and toxins in stools prevents bad bacteria and other pathogens in the gut from thriving and impairing vagus nerve activation. That's why fiber is so important. It has the additional benefit of feeding the good bacteria in the gut, which reduces inflammation and constipation. You do not want to have constipation. We have to get it out of our body as well. And it increases vagus nerve activation. Now, what about deep breathing? Deep breathing really helps as well. It helps to stimulate your vagal nerve fibers. And how to do that is you slowly would take a deep breath in, fill your lungs with air. And as you do that, your abdomen should be expanding. And then when you exhale, exhale through your mouth and your abdomen inwards. Do you know also singers? That's how they practice as well. Probiotics. Very important to have good bacteria in your gut. In some cases, stimulating the vagus nerve in the gut using probiotics could be a novel way to improve vagal tone. This can help to treat symptoms of vagus nerve dysfunction, such as irritable bowel syndrome. And I had that. And it isn't fun. And it builds up too much yeast in your system, and it can cause other issues as well, such as brain fog, depression, headaches, just many different things. Inflammatory bowel disease. Other studies have shown that vagus stimulation helps to make sure there is enough stomach acid for digestion. And I'm going to tell you, stomach acid is very important that you have that. Vagus nerve function also affects levels of intrinsic factor, a type of protein known as IF, in your gut, which is needed to prevent a vitamin B12 deficiency. One study found that taking lactobacillus could help to improve your gastrointestinal health, because your gut's health also affects your mood and brain function through the vagus nerve. Probiotics can also help to manage stress, anxiety, and depression. So everything here will help with your moods and your gut. Massage. Now there's my specialty, and I stimulate a lot of people's vagus nerves. So one of the benefits of having a massage to help you relax is that it helps to increase vagal activity in your body. Devices designed to stimulate the vagus nerve are sometimes used to control epilepsy seizures. However, massaging the carotid sinuses on the sides of your neck can have a similar effect. The Journal of Clinical Neuroscience reported that massaging the carotid sinus can help to suppress seizures as it stimulates the vagus nerve. Other doctors say that carotid sinus massage helps to increase vagal tone. The journal American Family Physician reports that a carotid sinus massage is usually carried out by a qualified medical professional or a massage therapist such as myself. So it helps to reduce a rapid heartbeat and lower blood pressure quickly. Now, the next next slide, is a video, and it will show you how to do that, how you can do it even on yourself.
This video is going to introduce you to carotid sinus massage, or vagal massage, or the vagal maneuver. It has a lot of different names, but its main goal is to diagnose and or treat supraventricular tachycardias, or AFib, or other hypersympathetic excitatory patterns in the heart. This is something that you can do at home. This is something that anybody really can do. It's safe, and I'm going to teach you how to do it the right way and the effective way. So just a little bit of anatomy here before we get started. The vagus nerve, also known as cranial nerve 10, runs up the neck and into the cranium just lateral to our carotid artery. And the carotid artery is a big one. This is the one that supplies the whole head with blood. This is why it's called the carotid sinus massage, is because the area that you're going to be massaging or palpating is just lateral to that carotid sinus, the carotid arteries. So what you're going to want to do is take your hand and feel on the side of your neck until you feel your carotid pulse. And you're really going to try and localize that as best as possible. So take your time, make sure you're in the right part here, and you want to move just lateral to that. And you'll feel some tissue, and that's what you're going to be feeling for. And you want to work your way up and down that tissue, just lateral to your pulse. And if you ever lose it, just find it again. Massaging and palpating, pushing it. You're going to want to do 3 or 5 seconds, and then move your way up and down the side of your neck there. You can do it on both sides. I would recommend doing it on one side and then the other. And the reason why is because if you are too medial and you're on that carotid artery and you occlude, or mean you push down too hard on that carotid artery, you're effectively turning off the circulation or the blood supply to your head. And if you do both sides at once, it can be really bad and cause you to have what's called syncope or faint, and you'll lose consciousness. I'm going to have my patient step in here. So let's say my patient here is experiencing atrial fibrillation, or AFib as it's commonly called, or he has a supraventricular tachycardia, a SVT rhythm. What I'm going to do this patient is, this patient's typically going to be in a hospital bed, probably coming in and out of consciousness, maybe even out of consciousness totally. I'm going to feel on the side of his neck for that carotid pulse. And I got it right here on this middle finger. I'm going to move just lateral to that, and I'm going to palpate on one side, up and down. The idea here is that your vagus nerve conveys all the parasympathetic nerves, a lot of parasympathetic nerve activity down to the pericardium, to the heart. And so what you're trying to do is you're trying to instill a hyperparasympathetic state, which would then cause your heart to relax, to chill out, and not be in fibrillation or in tachycardia.
All right. So I hope that, brothers and sisters, that you will try that on yourself. It's very effective. Here's a really good blend. You can either take a picture of it right now. I recommend this one. It is excellent for an anti-anxiety blend. Bergamot, I use quite a lot in my practice, and orange and lavender. Bergamot, yes, for anxiety. So the essential oils are good for treating anxiety. The uplifting aromas of essential oils can also help improve mood, help you sleep better, and reduce anxiety. There are many ways you can use essential oils for the calming, relaxing, and sedating effect. You can make an essential oil blend using a carrying oil and massage the stress relief essential oils on your temples. You could also add a combination of anti-anxiety oils to your diffuser, or you can ease your tension away by relaxing in a warm bath that has a few drops of essential oils added. Doesn't that sound lovely? So you can pamper yourself. So here are some top benefits of bergamot. Just relieve anxiety and depression, stress and chronic fatigue. They also help with skin, digestive system. They speed up healing process for cold sores, mouth ulcers, and herpes. Now, I found this very fascinating. A lot of people who have anxiety, they will take diazepam. That's a medication, but it has all these side effects. But the beauty, bergamot does not have any side effects. And there was one mental health clinic found that diffusing bergamot scent in their waiting room induced feelings of well-being and had a positive effect on mental health. So if you get a diffuser, I recommend to get bergamot, put some in, and then you can diffuse it in your room and see how you feel. Now, the side effects, though, to essential oils, you have to be careful. Like if you're pregnant, well, you should speak to a doctor, but unfortunately, a lot of doctors don't have information on aromatherapy, but you can also just read upon yourself. Promote sleep, reduce stress, calm nerves, deal with symptoms of anxiety. Now, although there are many essential oils for anxiety, it is important to remember that all essential oils are liquids containing highly concentrated. So they're very highly concentrated. So you don't want to put them directly on the skin. Many times you want to use a carrying oil. Okay, you can use coconut oil, sweet almond oil, extra virgin oil, jojoba oil. Those are really good ones to dilute it. I love this picture. You ever heard of a donkey laugh? Oh, it's so cute. It's so funny. Or a baby, when they're giggling and laughing. It always brings a smile to your face, doesn't it? Even just looking at that picture, aren't you smiling? All right, so these are other methods to stimulate it. Laughing stimulates the vagus nerve. There's some scientific backing to the saying that laughter is the best medicine. Where do we hear that from? In the Bible, which from the most wisest person on the world or in the universe is God, That Jesus says laughter is our best medicine. Serotonin supplements affect vagus nerve function. Taken supplements such as 5-HTP can boost your serotonin levels in the brain. Also, what has good serotonin levels too is eating almonds and increased vagal activity. Studies have shown that 5-HTP supplements help to stimulate the vagus nerve. This can also assist in lowering depression, reducing hypertension, and boosting your mood. Now, these are some devices that the doctors use. This is a nerve stimulator. It's not entirely clear how it works, but they do connect a wire or something. That one is for the doctors that they use. But here's one that you can actually use for yourself if you want. You can actually purchase this. I even have the website there if you're interested. This one is not implanted. So I'm going to come to a close now on Philippians chapter 4, 6 and 7. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be known unto God, and the peace of God, which pass all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Isn't that beautiful? Amen. See, God wants us to be happy and at peace. Okay, so I'm done with that one now, Nadine. Do I just continue on with the next one? Or do you want questions and answers or wait till the end?
I think we wait to the end.
Okay, so I will go now on to my next one.
Thank you.
Okay, and you just see a blank screen there.
You see a small blank screen. We need to enlarge it, yeah.
Okay. Change the enlarge this. All right, what I'm going to do. I wonder. I've never done that one. Okay, so you're seeing a small one. It didn't work. Okay, hold on, I'm just going to change this and do this one now. Oops. Sorry, this is all new to me. All right, that's all right. Let's do this. Oh, it's not letting me edit that. Okay, sorry, let me do this one. And oh, okay, do this one. Okay, see a big screen now?
Yes.
Blank screen? Okay. Oh, this is the wrong one. Sorry. Don't know why I did that. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, let's see if this is now. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start with another quote from Ellen G. White. She has so many quotes, beautiful quotes. I highly recommend to read her books because they're very helpful. Because God actually wants us to understand how the body works and also how to cure it. And so we can help many others. Because I don't know about you, brothers and sisters, but from so many people taking these jabs, I'm seeing a lot of people sick. A lot of my clients are getting MS now, Parkinson's, you name it. It is so sad to be watching what's going on. But I pray I can be able to be of help for them. The more active the circulation, the more free from obstructions and impurities will be the blood. And we know how important the blood is, don't we? Life is in the blood. The blood nourishes the body. The health of the body depends upon the healthful circulation of the blood. So nitric oxide, I don't know if you've ever heard of nitric oxide, but it is very important for fighting blood clotting, myocarditis, and many people are getting that caused by jab and shedding. I actually have a few clients who just turned in their 20s, have myocarditis now due to the jab. The focus is to give your body the right food, the right fuel. It needs to produce the substance that it needs to operate. Same thing with nitric oxide. If you fuel the cells with the right fuel, you're going to get what you need. Spike proteins attacks the blood. The heart causes enlarging of the heart, swelling of the heart, which is myocarditis and blood clotting. Nitric oxide is the reversal of this. So it's so beautiful, brothers and sisters, even though the devil, he has methods of trying to damage or kill people. Well, I should say injure people from what they're going through as spike proteins and whatever else. God will have something else to reverse it, to heal them. So here is 3 scientists, Farid Murad, Louis Ignarro, Robert Vergeot. They actually won a Nobel Prize for the discovery in 1998. Discovered the nitric oxide is a key molecule in the cardiovascular system that helps keep blood vessels healthy and regulates blood pressure. So we see how important your cardiovascular system is. What is nitric oxide? The nitric oxide formula is NO, which means that this colorless gas is made up of 1 molecule of nitrogen and 1 molecule of oxygen. Nitric oxide, also called nitrogen oxide or nitrogen monoxide, is produced by almost every cell of your human body. But you need these 2 amino acids. You need L-arginine and L-citrulline to boost it. More specifically, the kidneys turn L-citrulline into L-arginine, which is a precursor to nitric oxide. Nitric oxide synthesis is an enzyme found in our endothelial cells, the cells that line all blood vessels throughout the body. This enzyme converts L-arginine into nitric oxide. So we see how important enzymes are. Through a very complex and complicated reaction, this enzyme loses its function as we age, so that by the time we're about 40 years old, this enzyme is only about 50% functional. If you happen to smoke, don't exercise on a regular basis, or eat a poor diet, the activity of this enzyme becomes even less. Loss of the enzyme function is recognized as the earliest event in the progression of age-related ailments. In Sweden 2020, a pathology team, when they did autopsy on COVID deaths, based on the evidence they've seen, this pathogen or virus was targeting endothelium. Endothelium is your inner lining of all your blood vasculature. You have endothelium in your lymph vasculature, and the lymph is the input of the body and output of the body. Lymph moves a number of cells to move throughout the body, but moves all the garbage out. COVID-19 and the jab is an endothelial disease. And what I recommend, brothers and sisters, we do not have a pump in our system. So I have a mini rebounder I jump up on, and that is great for the lymph. But if you don't have that, you can even do dry skin brushing. Now, all the vasculature is lined by a single cell thick lining called Teflon. It's called your endothelium. It's the largest organ in your endocrine system. The endothelium is a thin layer of epithelial cells lining the inside of the blood vessels. It lines the entire circulatory system, including the heart and all the veins, arteries, and capillaries. Hasn't God made us just everything so well and so perfect? When your endothelium is young and healthy, you enjoy a steady current of nutrient and oxygen-rich blood circulating to every nook and cranny of your body, and you enjoy all the wonderful benefits of increased nitric oxide. Now, the next video is going to talk about the endothelium.
Unknown endothelium that's critical to supporting how well they're functioning. The endothelium is an ultra-thin layer of protective cells, lining the inner walls of every artery, the heart, and the entire vascular system, and it assists in efficient blood flow around your body. Our endothelium only weighs about 1 kilogram, and if rolled up, would fit in the palm of our hand, but laid out flat, it has a surface area as big as a football pitch. When your blood flow increases, the endothelium reacts by releasing chemicals, including nitric oxide, to help control how and when our arteries dilate. Increased circulation has a positive effect on our arteries by keeping them flexible. Boosting blood circulation also reduces the risk of plaque forming, which is a buildup of fat, cholesterol, calcium, and other substances. Plaque can form under the endothelial layer, accelerating arterial stiffness and stress on the whole cardiovascular system. Our endothelium may start to weaken as we age, particularly after the age of 30. This is known as endothelial dysfunction, and with the increase of plaque formation, can disrupt the circulation of oxygen-rich blood to our most crucial organs. Together with external effects such as an unhealthy lifestyle, the endothelium has a lot working against it.
So that gives an explanatory of how the endothelium lining works and how important it is. Nitric oxide tells your vasculature when to flex, when to constrict and dilate. Your blood is pumping pulses of blood throughout your body. Your vasculature understands when to expand and when to constrict, because nitric oxide tells then when to do that. So nitric oxide is a powerful vasodilator, playing a significant role affecting blood circulation, oxygen production. Key ingredients such as L-arginine boost your metabolic nitric oxide production, increases oxygen supply, optimizing mineral and nutrient delivery to muscles, elevating nitric oxide levels, boosts production of testosterone, adrenaline hormones, supercharging workout pump, enhanced nitric oxide production, drives optimal muscle growth, and improve your stamina, enhance endurance. See how important nitric oxide is to your body and to keeping you healthy. Now, the next video will explain about nitric oxide.
Nitric oxide is naturally made in our bodies. A Nobel Prize was awarded for the discovery that nitric oxide plays a significant role in the cardiovascular system. This discovery revealed nitric oxide as a vasodilator, helping to reduce blood pressure and increase oxygen in the blood. Produced by the lining of the blood vessels, known as the endothelium, nitric oxide acts as a messenger molecule, telling blood vessels to widen or dilate, and contract or relax, like an elastic band. With enough nitric oxide, blood vessels can relax and widen, allowing blood to flow from and to the heart. As we age, we produce less nitric oxide. This can cause the cardiovascular system to become less elastic, which can reduce the flow of oxygenated blood to vital organs. This is the reason it's important to have an active lifestyle and a diet that's rich in nitrates, which bioconvert to nitric oxide and may help maintain normal blood pressure levels and a healthy cardiovascular system.
All right, so nitric oxide is very important to your cardiovascular system. So as you see in the chart here, when you're in your 20s, 100% nitric oxide, 80 in your 30s, thickening arteries, 40s, 50%, inflammation plaque buildup now, 50s, 35%, stiffening wall, calcium buildup. Your 60s now it can be more prone to rupture. That's why usually 60 and up can either have heart attacks or strokes. However, this is really sad now, brothers and sisters, because of this COVID jab out now even 20-year-olds and under are getting this, even heart attacks. It is so evil. Anyways, it regulates the blood viscosity and keeps it liquid. They keep it moving. They don't let it solidify. They regulate platelets. They maintain blood pressure. They regulate lipids, proteins in the blood. They direct which ones can go in and out of the vascular wall. They control the traffic between all the data that's in the blood, the oxygen, nutrition, anything you're ingesting. They're regulating what gets through that vascular wall into the extravascular tissue. All the cells need that, oxygen, nutrition, and hydration. So that's what you need to keep your cells healthy. To function, it has to penetrate through the endothelial cells. They are like the traffic cop of communication, link between the blood and what the body needs. So God, the way he created us was to keep everything in balance. That's our choice, though, of what we do to keep it in balance. In cases of diabetes, the reason why they start chopping off feet and limbs and start losing their eyesight is because they're not getting blood to those fat tissue. If you're getting some, it's slow with oxygen. When you get a necrosis situation is because your blood vasculature isn't functioning. That's a function of poor endothelial health. Lowers blood pressure. What does nitric oxide do to your body? Well, it does many things, including acting as a vasodilator. It means it is able to encourage easier blood movement through the vessels, so the heart doesn't have to pump as hard. This helps decrease blood pressure. Studies to date demonstrate how dietary nitrate intake and the resulting increase in NO production acutely lower blood pressure in healthy humans. In addition to positive effects on blood pressure, NO also can improve endothelial function. This is significant since endothelial dysfunction is known to contribute to the development of atherosclerosis, which leads to heart attack or stroke, which my dad had and unfortunately did pass away. A study published in 2014 in the Journal of Clinical Hypertension found that a single administration of an oral active NO supplement decreased blood pressure, improved vascular compliance, and restored endothelial function in patients with hypertension. So if any of you know people having issues with high blood pressure, they need to get on nitric oxide or take the foods that I will explain that are high in nitric oxide. Now it decreases blood clots. Isn't that wonderful? It's pretty much what everybody's getting now. If they've taken the jab, so they're getting blood clots. In addition to decreasing blood pressure, another impressive nitric oxide function, ability to boost heart health, making blood platelets less sticky. Why is this a good thing? Well, when the platelets are less sticky, they're less likely to clump together and they form a blood clot. So that's how blood clots are formed, okay? Is by the platelets get sticky, which then can lead to strokes and heart attacks. So research shows that NO, nitric oxide, can help reduce the rate of clot formation as well as clot strength. So you want both. Supports brain health. NO is also known to be a key player in brain health. It has been shown to be an important messenger in various organ systems, but is particularly important to the central nervous system, where it acts as an intermediary in cell communication in the brain. It helps your brain send and receive signals more quickly, so you can think faster on your feet and feel more alert. Research conducted at the University of Leicester reveals how NO can change the computational ability of the brain, which points toward NO's ability to help neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's. A scientific article published in 2015 highlights how a decrease of NO may explain the impaired ability of patients with Alzheimer's. It also helps with the immune system, which is very important, brothers and sisters, that we keep our immune system at optimal performance. Everything they're throwing in our environment and who knows, put in our food and water, we need to keep this immune system strong. So many immune system cells produce and respond to nitric oxide. This plays a key role in the immune system and helps fight off diseases. Signals your immune system to kill bacteria, viruses, and other dangerous invaders. The scientific review published in the Indian Journal of Biochemistry and Biophysics highlights is how NO is important as a toxic defense molecule against infectious organisms. How so? One group of immune cells in particular, activated macrophages, inhibit pathogen replication by releasing a variety of effector molecules, including NO. This is just one nitric oxide pathway that helps fight off infection in the body. So see how it fights all those bad pathogens off. It's great for people who work out. Along with boosting energy, it helps with recovery time with sore muscles after exercising or strenuous activities. Allows your muscles and joints to recover faster so you can keep active and move freely. Well, that's important because when I work out, I like to be less sore. Now, as I get older, I noticed I'm more sore after a workout, but when I was younger, I didn't hardly have any soreness. That's because I had a lot of nitric oxide in me. So if you want to keep up your athletic abilities, nitric oxide will help you finish faster and recover quicker. It also helps with erectile dysfunction. Now, what's interesting, they took the studies, they took these 80-year-olds and they put them on this nitric oxide. Do you know they were able to do marathons after that? So it just shows you how effective it is. Now, here are some foods that are very high in nitric oxide. Which one do you think is the highest? Beetroot. That's right, that's the highest one. Leafy greens, including arugula, chard, kale, red and green spinach, and lettuce, leeks, radishes, celery, broccoli, fennel, Chinese cabbage, turnips, cucumbers, carrots, cauliflower, herbs like parsley and dill, pomegranate juice, oranges, bananas, and you know, they're all plant-based. So if you're plant-based, you get lots of nitric oxide. But beetroot is the highest, and it lowers blood pressure. Beets are frequently studied for their nitric content and widespread health benefits. Beet greens, the leafy part of the plant, can also be cooked down and eaten for added nitrate density. So it is best to purchase fresh fruits with greens still attached. Beetroot supplements have been shown to support healthy daily systolic blood pressure. A 2014 study from Newcastle University observed the influence of beetroot on the blood pressure of older, overweight participants. After 3 weeks of consistent supplementation, participants saw a reduction in daily blood pressure levels. However, the participants did not maintain the effect after the interruption of supplementation. So regular consumption of beetroot supports many overall health benefits and may play a role in blood pressure control. So if you want to have a good juice to help lower your blood pressure, drink beetroot. But it also does many other good things too. So the recommended daily intake per kilogram body weight is about 2 cups, they say. You should consume 2 cups of sliced beets. The athletes in the studies consumed 4 cups, 90 minutes before their exercise. It's a lot of beets. So some people like to take it in supplementation. But for those of us who just want to improve your cardiovascular health, the good news is beetroot is not only veggie that is packed with high levels of nitrate. You got 4 cups of arugula. You got 2.5 cups of spinach, 1.5 cups of shredded lettuce, and 3/4 cups of sliced radish. What does this mean for you? If you're looking to improve your acute endurance, strength, or power performance, supplementing short-term with beets and beetroot juice may give you an advantage. And for everyone else, a long-term diet full of beets and leafy vegetables provides nitrates and takes stress off your heart. So eat your veggies. And they make a very good salad. You put beetroot and some greens together. Yum, yum. Oh, there's some other ones too. Since the cells use arginine to create your nitric oxide, you can also consider increasing your arginine with pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, seaweed, and spirulina. Now, did you know watermelon seeds? I always just spit them out, but they actually are very good for you. And they are rich in arginine. And sesame seeds are rich in arginine. Dried walnuts contain 4,522 grams per cup. Almonds contain 3,525 grams per cup. And pine nuts contain 3,250 grams. I don't know if that's I think it's 3.258 grams, per cup. Then there's legumes. Plenty of arginine and other amino acids. Soy offers an excellent alternative to meat as a source of arginine. Just 1 cup of soybeans contains 5,865 grams of amino acid, making these grains the right choice of the heart. And there's raw peanuts for people who can eat them, 4,567 grams. Chickpeas contains 3,878 grams per cup. So there's many excellent food out there that gives us what we need to keep us healthy if we're on a plant-based diet. And I recommend to eat more raw. How about seaweed? I love seaweed. Michael doesn't, but I do. The seaweed is a popular health food. A cup of dry seaweed contains 4,645 grams of the amino acid. So anyone who needs to increase the intake of arginine, eat seaweed. Now, thanks to nitric oxide, you get more nutrient and oxygen-rich blood flowing through your body. And that helps keep every cell, muscle, organ, and tissue in your body functioning at its peak, just like in your younger days. Wouldn't it be wonderful to feel like you're in your 20s and 30s again? And that's possible with nitric oxide. When you're in your 20s, your nitric oxide levels are at their peak, but when you reach your 40s, they're just 50%. 50s are down to 35, your 60s are down to 15. A mere fraction of where they were in your younger days. So you wonder as you get older, you're like, oh, my joints ache. Oh, I'm more sore. My muscles, they're not as strong. Well, that might be why. As a result, blood doesn't flow as freely and your body becomes starved of vital oxygen and nutrients. And those are very important for keeping your cells healthy. You need those components. This may explain why they're noticing more forgetfulness, more frequent illness, or more fatigue. It may also be why you may be experiencing more joint aches and stiffness, more bone loss, or more concerns about your blood pressure. That's not all. Now, I find this fascinating. Did you know using mouthwash regularly can decrease nitric oxide? That's because it kills off the good bacteria that plays a role in producing this miracle molecule, and taking acid blockers for indigestion or an upset stomach can stop your body from producing nitric oxide completely. So I recommend not to do these things, especially don't mouthwash all the time. As powerful as the nitric oxide boosting nutrients are, you won't enjoy their greatest effects if you take them in a pill or capsule. That's because a few years back, Zija scientists made a surprising discovery. They found that in order to make nitric oxide, your body requires the saliva and good bacteria found in your mouth. That's right. The most important step in nitric oxide production happens in your mouth. And that's where it all starts anyways, doesn't it? Digestion. So that's where you want these nutrients to go to work. So if you take them in a pill or capsule, they'll go straight to your stomach and they skip the steps completely. So these are some sites that I have here. If you're interested in some nitric oxide booster, now you can take nitric oxide, like you can go to a health food store and you can buy beetroot juice, and that's fine, or just drink the juice itself. But it is more highly concentrated in the powder form. Or if you get the nitric oxide booster, the booster contains those 2 amino acids, the L-citrulline and L-arginine, that you need to really boost it up. But if you take the beetroot with the other foods that I recommended to get those amino acids, well, then you're getting it, the completion, because food is better. So I'm going to come to a close now. In Hebrews 9, verse 22, and almost all things are by the law purged with blood, and without shedding of blood is no remission. Christ died for our sins. And brothers and sisters, praise God for this beautiful body he has created us, but it also has died for us and shed his blood. And we see how important blood is even in us, how our blood should be pure and cleansed, and the blood should be flowing so you got more oxygen running through your body to prevent these diseases. So I pray, brothers and sisters, that you can put all these things that I've shared with you into practice so that you can live a more bountiful, happy life that God has given us. Thank you.